Or Reed Esther from OrTalk, and I am so excited to have another one of our fine influencers and guests here today on today's podcast interview series. So, OrTalk is a place where Torah and healing and everyday life kind of come together. And today we're going to be exploring one of the most beautiful mitzvahs and the most powerful and practical mitzvot called tzedakah, daily giving. And I am very inspired by our guest, Jonathan, who's a chiropractor, but also does amazing work as the founder of Daily Giving. It's an incredible organization and initiative that enables us to be able to give every single day and to fulfill the mitzvah anonymously, the greatest mitzvah of tzedakah, anonymously every single day. What I love most about this whole idea of this mitzvah and this initiative is not only is the receiver getting from, anonymous sources through the shaliach of daily giving, but I also love the idea that you yourself as the giver, you have no idea also like where it's going. And you're just giving for the purpose of giving, right? And that's why giving daily matters. It's because the consistency of practicing a mitzvah day in and day out, that is what really, I want to say, shifts our energy to become of the giving, and for it to become like literally like second habit, second nature. And the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh says that if you want to really adapt a personality trait, you need to be doing something consistently, time in and time again. And that's what your organization and your initiative really has taught us. So welcome,
Thank
and
you so much.
thank you so much for being such an instrument of so much light in this world. So first of all, of course, I want to hear, everyone wants to hear, what inspired you to start daily giving. How does that fit into the schematic of being a chiropractor? So please get started, let's hear more.
Sure. So, like you said, I've been a chiropractor for 19 years, and never in my wildest imagination did I think I'd be running a global nonprofit. About a little over 7 years ago, a friend of mine told me about this YouTube video of a Rav who had a near-death experience, and I was always just intrigued by near-death experiences. I'm not sure why. I guess it is a pretty interesting topic.
Yeah.
and and he sent me this video, and I started listening to it. It was a 2 hour YouTube video, and I had very limited time, so I couldn't listen all at one time. And I remember kind of listening at piecemeal, 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, and I finished it. But basically the video was of Rabbi Alon Anava, and Rabbi Alon Anava, I
Mm,
never heard of before that. And he describes how he said, I wasn't just a secular Jew. I dafka ate cheeseburgers on Yom Kippur. He's like, that's the kind of Jew I was. And he overdosed on drugs and he died. And for this 2 hour video, he basically describes in the most incredible, vivid detail his near death experience of what it was like on the other side. And essentially, what he said at one point, and the whole video is incredible. I would absolutely find it on YouTube. You could just put Alon Anava near death experience, you'll find it. But he speaks about at one point that he basically had it was like he was stuck in this place of pain and suffering, what felt like 2 billion years. He said. And the
wow.
message he got was that he didn't have a single mitzvah, not a single mitzvah, to elevate him to the next level. And I literally finished hearing this, and I walked into my local Marv meeting, and I put $1 in Stuck Box like we've all done so many times in our lives. And I had the only epiphany I've ever had in my entire life that no matter how much money I give to tzedakah, even this $1 is a mitzvah. So I was like, how can I guarantee myself the mitzvah of tzedakah every single day? How can I make sure that I am a giver every day? That was the idea. It was like bored in the deep recesses of my mind. I thought I had $1 billion idea, and I ran home and I was so excited. And I remember Googling it. I could not find anyone automating tzedakah giving. And
Wow. Wow.
I called up my website guy Shaul and I said, Shaul, what do you think about this idea? And he loved the idea. He also had heard of Rabbi Alon Anavad. He couldn't believe that I had told him where it came from, and I had never heard of Rabbi Anavad. So we um, we automated a platform, and we started January 1st, 2019. And the platform is trying to use all over the world give $1 of tzedakah every single day together. And every day we give the entire amount to a different incredible Jewish nonprofit all over the world. We like to say it's a diversified portfolio of charities. We give to poverty and widows and orphans and cancer and substance use and mental health and domestic violence and kiruv and Torah and life saving and stem. It just goes on and on. And every day, all our givers, we have over 22,000 givers from 43 countries. And every day they get an email telling them where the money goes that day and how much they're getting, and a link and a video of what they're giving. Um, and people just love being a part of it. We've given out over
Wow.
$25.6 million in the first 6.5 years, and we don't take a penny. 100 cents of every dollar goes to the organizations. We fundraise our whole budget separately. That's another story. And thank God, I feel it's a real privilege.
Wow. So first of all, can I say I have the zchut to have learned about this initiative. I don't even remember how I got to it, but I maybe got an email and I decided that I was going to give $3 a day. And I've been giving consistently for the past few years, $3 a day. It said one for my household, one for the household of my daughter, she has her own household, and one for the household of my married son. And I said, I'm going to give $3 a day. And I do get those emails. And I remember feeling oftentimes that I don't always open it up, but I say, wow. Like, I just like, wow. And when I see it charged on my card every month, I'm like, wow, I'm so glad that this comes off automatically and it's going again, to some place. And they, we know this teaching from Torah. The biggest mitzvah is when you do a mitzvah, shesamui mi'ayin, that's hidden away from the human eye. You have provided this opportunity for us to be able to give this in such a way where nobody else knows about it. Nobody knows where that money is coming from, and we don't know where we're giving, and yet we're doing it. That light is like geula light. It's
I
unbelievable.
love I love that you said that because so I remember a year and a half ago I was in Israel visiting Bat Melech. Do you know what Bat Melech is?
Yes, I
Yeah.
unfortunately do.
Do. Okay, so I'll tell your listeners just in case they don't know. But Bat Melech
Sure.
is an incredible organization that helps women who unfortunately have domestic violence situations where they have to leave their homes. It's dangerous, and they have at least three safe houses in Israel. And I was visiting one of the safe homes, and I was talking to one of the women there about daily giving, and I showed her the email how daily giving that they had given over $15,000 at the time to Bat Melech, and she starts crying, really emotional. And I wait a minute, and she composes herself, and I said, "What made you so emotional?"
Mm.
And she didn't say, "Well, she basically said, it's not the $15,000 that Bat Melech is getting, but I appreciate that. Really nice. They're helping me out. I know that costs money." But she's like, to know that there are 15,000 Jews that know about us.
Wow.
And of all the things I had heard in all the years of daily giving, that was different, right? I was hearing from someone it impacted not financially, not how it like gave them food, put food on their plate, but like how the supportive hug from Klal Yisrael that she felt, knowing that there were 15,000 people collectively giving to Bat Melech, was
And
like
caring.
and caring. It was different than any other thing. So I'm glad you said that. That we don't. You might know which organization it goes to, or as the giver, but the people who are get receiving don't know who it's coming from, and you don't know the individual who's getting it. One time, someone asked me because when you sign up for daily giving, you don't get to choose who you give to.
Right.
We have a rabbinical council, we have an allocation committee. We had over 700 applicants last year, so it's we take it very seriously, and we do a really good job trying to make sure that the money goes to the various places. But you don't get to choose. So one time, someone asked me like, "Is there any way that I could choose, or I don't want to give to one particular organization?" And I said, "Unfortunately, that's just the way it's structured. You don't get to choose. However," I was like, "You get extra scar because the day it goes to the you don't want to give to, you get, that's when you really get extra scar." So,
Wow. Love it.
yeah.
And again, I want to point to the fact that it's in the daily act, as the Baal Shem Tov teaches us. When you do something consistently, you open up the heavens because you acquire for yourself a second nature. And it's also another thing, and that's what I want to talk about. It's not the size. It's not the size of the gift, right? It's in the fact that you're giving every single day. It's in the consistency And that's what enables us to be able to feel like we're really working on a nature. Now we know that blood is called damim. And the reason is because when you give, you're giving from that place in your soul. There are five levels of the soul, at least five of the larger parts of the soul, and the lower part of the soul is called the nefesh. And the nefesh is found in the blood, in the liver, in the blood. And so there's a reason Chazal teach us why by damim, the word blood, and it's in plural, your damim is your nefesh. And so when you're giving, you're actually activating a healing force in your body. You're actually calming down your liver, and you're actually creating like this calmness that's floating in your body. And if you do it every day, like talk about the chiropractic effect, I'm sure is phenomenal. So I want you to talk to that point, if you could, about the idea of nourishing your body every single day by creating and being involved in creating this energy of consistency through this daily engagement in chesed and tzedakah.
Yeah. I love that you said that because I like to say that also. It's not about the dollar, it's about the daily, and I actually think that there is a vibrational frequency of giving. And
Totally.
when we give, it does something physically to our bodies. You almost can't explain it. So you could be in a bad mood and your friend calls you and they need you for a minute and like you give them 5 minutes of your time and then you could just see how something shifted to them and then you get off the phone and your own day has been transformed, right? That is the giving frequency. I think that, when we give, giving, Hashem is the ultimate giver, right?
Right.
He literally, as you know, like I'm a chiropractor, so a trillion things, literally, I'm not exaggerating, a trillion things have to go right this second for us to have this conversation, for me to move my hands, right?
Yeah.
And Hashem's giving to us constantly, right? And of any way we can most emulate Hashem, it's by giving.
Mm.
And so, as a chiropractor my whole life, I've been aligning people's spines, right? But in some ways, I think how my topic has switched to aligning people's neshama because I think that people's highest, truest alignment is when we give.
Wow.
And so when we give every day and we make that choice every single day to give again, and then the choice again to give
Mm.
again, we are literally making ourselves becoming givers. I mean, I'm sure the Rambam says, should you give, if you have $100 to give tzedakah, should you give one person $100 or a dollar to
Right.
100 different people? And he says to give a dollar to 100 different people. And to a lot of people, they're puzzled by that. But when he explains that giving is a muscle, and if you don't use a muscle, it atrophies. And if you use a
Right.
muscle, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And so exactly what you're saying, I love having this particular conversation, on this. I don't get to have this exact type of conversation, but I truly believe that there is a giving frequency, and the more you give, the more you're in that frequency, and the more you feel it, and you become a giver. And when you become a giver, it changes your life.
Right. You mentioned the Rambam, and so in the Rambam's hierarchy of tzedakah, he actually praises also the idea of anonymous giving, right? The Torah value of giving in a hidden way, right?
Hmm.
And the Rambam writes that that's the anonymousness, right? That if that's even a word, giving
Yes.
is one of the highest levels. And why? Because it removes the ego and it means that you're giving for pure intention. You're not giving it. Now, again, I'm not going to chas v'shalom degrade the fact that there are people who have names on shuls and, pamphlets or whatever have you, or making mention of them in classes or whatever. But I'm saying the fact that you could give, that means I'm not doing it for any recognition. There's no part of my ego in this, right? I'm giving it for the pure sake of just the giving.
Yeah.
Hu rachum gamata chanun, gamata rachum, like just to emulate God.
Yeah, yeah. I've been talking about this recently a lot with friends and delving into this conversation. And I love, someone said, like one of my close friends said, the reward for giving is that
Mm,
you're a giver. That is
right.
the reward. That is
Love
the
it.
reward. When you become a giver and you see what that does to you, what that feels like that is the
Love
reward.
it. Love it. Love
Yeah.
it, love it. So I'm sure that there are a lot of stories that you could share with us, that illustrate that ripple positive effect of daily generosity. Do you have any like powerful stories that emerged from daily giving, and the daily giving's impact in the world? I'd just be curious to hear and to share with the
Yeah.
listeners.
Sure, sure. I'll tell you a couple stories. I mean, the first one I have to tell, just based on our conversation, even though I've told
Hmm.
this story a lot of times, if there's one of your listeners that hasn't heard it, or maybe all of them, whatever, it's just too, and it's just on this, but becoming a giver. And that one time this gentleman signed up for daily giving, and then 30 seconds he signed up for a second time, and then a third time, and in 5 minutes he signed five different times.
Wow.
And I called him up and I thanked him and I said, "Why did you sign up five different times?" And he said, "I wanted to teach my children about tzedakah giving." So I said, "That's so beautiful. How old are your children?" And he said, "They're 1, 2, and 4."
Wow.
And I was like,
Wow.
"Wow, tell me more." And he said, "I've already reserved their Gmail addresses. And now, when they're in 8 or 9 years from now, when I give them their passwords and they can open up their email for the very first time, they're going to open it up and they're going to see one email, but only one email, but it's going to be repeated thousands of times. And it's going to say, 'Thank you for your donation.' And they're going to see that they've been givers their whole lives."
I love that story. Oh my gosh. Oh, if I wasn't already a giver, I would be one now just from that story.
Ari, it's so nice. You've been a giver for $3 a day for many years, which is wonderful. And thank you for being a part of it. I feel like, it also says that Chazal said that if you do a mitzvah with another person, then you're getting it's a combination. And so the fact that you've been a part, it's like a minion. If you're number 10 in the minion, right, you get credit as if you're for all 10 in the minion. If there's 100, you're one of the first 10, you get credit for the first 100. With daily giving, right, sign up, the sooner you sign up, the better, because you get, if we do a mitzvah together, we now have 22,000 Jews giving tzedakah together every day. Like, giving feels great. It feels great no matter what. But I'm telling you, there's something different about giving with your brothers and sisters every day. I say this a lot, and I really feel in my kishkas that what more could Hashem want than all of His children every day coming together to give to our brothers and sisters who are less fortunate?
Wow,
That's why I
wow,
think daily
wow.
giving's taken off because Hashem loves anything with unity. When His sons and daughters come together, that's that's it. He's a
We
happy
know that.
father.
Yep.
Yeah,
A single spark ignites countless flames, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
even just sharing these stories and sharing this initiative, it's going to have a spiritual ripple, in life. And what better time than before Rosh Hashanah? Because we want to actually go into Rosh Hashanah with that extra, right? We know it's tefillah, tzedakah, maasim tovim, right? That is what it essentially is going to, God willing. And again, we shouldn't do it from an ego place, right? We don't want to do it say, okay, Hashem, let me get on your better side. I want to, I'm going to give to daily giving because of that. No, no, everyone. Give because you want to, first of all, you want to heal your body. Again, there are always going to be some selfish reasons. You want to heal your body, your dameen, your nefesh, your blood, purify yourself. But you also want to give just for the purpose of giving, because that's what we say, schar mitzvah mitzvah, right? That's
yeah.
exactly what we were saying.
Yes, yes.
Amazing,
I have
amazing.
another, you said ripple effect. So
Please.
it triggered another story in my head that um, it was the first year in 2019 in May. So it was like, 5, 6 months in. And someone I'm sort of distantly related to signed up for daily giving for $2 a day. And I called her and I thanked her and I said, "Why did you sign up for $2 a day?" And she said, "I signed up for one for me and one for my future husband." And she was
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Wait, get this, it gets better. So she's 36 years old. She's never been married. And 6 months later, she gets engaged. Okay? And I told that story to Rabbi Ben Sion Klatsko, and he told that story in a shir that got listened to. And then he got a text which he sent me from a woman in Chicago whose daughter was 21, and she was now, I'm sorry, she was 29. She had been dating since she was 21, and the text said that the woman signed up for $2 a day, one for her daughter and one for her daughter's future. So actually, the one time I heard from someone doing it for someone else, and she signed up one for her daughter and one for her future husband. And she said, I signed up on May 13th and she met her husband on May 20th.
Mamale.
Yeah. And I
Oh
told that on Rabbi Ephraim Goldberg's Behind the Bima podcast, and it started going viral. And I could just tell you that dozens and dozens and dozens of people that I already know have gotten engaged who signed up for daily giving for $2 a day, for one for themselves, one for their future husband. And this year alone, it's what we're in September. So this year, 10 couples have gotten engaged so far this year that I know of.
Why,
So
why?
yeah, so the ripple effect, tzedakah, I think there's just something, Hashem says tzedakah is one of the one things, I think the one thing you're allowed to test Hashem with.
Right,
So,
right. So
yeah.
allow me to take a moment and compliment you. Okay. You didn't pay attention maybe as much, but I did. When we started the podcast, you said one thing that for me, all your initiative, all of this is heartwarming. Chaval al hazman, as they say in Hebrew. But there was one thing that you said that for me personally, and I'm sure it's inspiring to many other listeners. I don't even know if you've paid attention to this, but you said something. You said, I heard a shir from Rav Anava, and I said, I got to do something about this. You said, I got to do something about this. I have to run with this. And you ran. You ran with this. And I want to just share something that has been a source of inspiration for me. So, Rabbi Wallerstein Zatzal said something in a shir a long, long time ago, and he said, the idea of Or Nava, right, his school for girls, the ranch for girls. He said that idea comes from Shemayim, and Hashem says, okay, there's an idea. There's something that needs to be created in the world called Or Nava, okay, and he knocked on my head. And he said, you know what? Maybe Rabbi Zachariah Wallerstein is Zatzal, that way then Shlita, is the right guy. So I'm going to knock on his head, drop him a coin of an idea, put on that light bulb, and let's see what he's going to do with it. And Rabbi Wallerstein said the following. He said, so I had a choice. When that idea dropped into my head, I had a choice. Either I was going to go with it and run with it, or Hashem would then take it out of my mind and plant it in somebody else's mind, because Or Nava has to be. The question is who has the zchut to be able to do it. So I want to share with you and say to you, and I felt that, by the way, reverberate very deeply in me, because I was doing the daily dose of Emuna, and now it's oremuna.org. And I felt the same way. This is not about me having this ingenious idea, or Rabbi Wallerstein's that's how having an ingenious idea of, oh, let's do Or Nava. Hashem needed Or Nava. Hashem needed oremuna.org. Hashem needed daily giving. And he knocked on your head, and he said, do you want it? Do you want to initiate? Do you want to do it? Do you want to run with it? And I'm going to commend you and say, kol hakavod, that you did. Kol hakavod, because not everybody has that coin drop and decides to run with it, and you did. So I want you to know that I'm very inspired by that. Just want to
Thank
share
you,
that.
Arita. I got chills because I was very close with Rabbi Zachariah Wallerstein Zatzal. And I wonder if that's how you heard about it, because he used to speak about daily giving very often. I wonder if that's how.
I know. I heard maybe
Yeah,
that is. It could be that that's how I heard about it.
yeah. He's wow. It's just like chills hearing you talk about him. What a special, special, special man. He inspired me a
Yeah,
lot and
a
inspired
big loss. Big,
so
big
many
loss.
tens of
Yeah.
thousands of people. And yeah, so thank you. I take, same to you.
Take it in. Just drink it
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
Drink
I
it in.
appreciate it. I ask myself sometimes early on, I haven't thought about it as much recently, but I ask myself, what did I do to get the privilege of starting daily giving? And to me, it's very, very obvious because I'm the grandson of four amazing Holocaust survivors. And particularly my Zaidi, my mother's father, people think he was a Lamed Vavnik. He was that special a man. And yeah, actually, oh wow, I've never done a podcast where this is by him right
Mm.
here. Yeah,
Wow.
that's a picture of my
Wow.
Zaidi at my wedding. Yeah,
So
he was a
beautiful.
very, very, very special man. And yeah, so that is why it's not me. It's got nothing to do with me.
That is so
But
special.
this Chus Avos is no question why. And
Absolutely.
but to your point, I remember there was days where when we started daily giving, I actually thought about this a lot recently that Rabbi Wallerstein used to say, Jonathan, how is it possible we only have 5,000 people doing this? How is it possible we only have 10,000 people doing this? Why don't we have hundreds of thousands already? This is the biggest no-brainer in the world. And it would bother us so much. And people say to me sometimes, did you ever in your wildest imagination believe that daily giving would be giving out over $8 million a year or have 22,000 people? And I said, yeah. From literally that night when I had the idea, I was like, wait, what is 1% of all Jews? I was like, duh, 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 duh. Okay, if I refuse to believe that we cannot get 145,000 people, 1% of all Jews, to give $1 a day. That would be over $52 million of tzedakah a year, over 52 million mitzvahs. If we can get 1% to get, I can't believe we can't do that. So back to what you're saying, those first couple days, I got everyone I knew to sign up, or I sent it out to everyone, and about 80 people signed up and 100. And then guess what happened? No one was signing up. No one. And
That's
I
the
started,
nisayon. That's
and
sha'at nisayon.
yeah, and every night I didn't want a day to go by where daily giving would not grow. So by like 9:30 at night, if someone didn't sign up, I would open my phone and I would start scrolling through my contacts and I would call someone every day. And then I would tell them and like, okay, it's a great idea. I'm like, I know, can you sign up today? I need someone today. And I would do that day after day, week after week, month after month. Even if it's gonna go slow, we have to get at least one person, new person every single day. And thank God.
Unbelievable.
And the funny thing is that the first big turning point was when Rabbi Wallerstein himself spoke about it. He gave us like Wednesday night Parsha Shir. And the first time he did that, I couldn't believe it. My phone started blowing up. New giver, new giver, new giver. Vibrate, it was vibrate, phone was vibrating everywhere.
No.
And like, I think over 100 people signed up in one night when Rabbi Wallerstein mentioned it, which
I
had,
love it.
again, we're talking, that was like, we might have doubled or tripled, like in one night. It was
That's
amazing. So yeah,
gorgeous.
yeah.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
I
So
love
I
that we
want to
got
just
to talk about Rabbi Wallerstein.
I do, and I feel like he's so present here. He's so
Yeah.
present here. Zecher Tzadik v'Kadosh Livracha. I wanna make a connection between, speaking about healing the body, which you're a chiropractor, and I'm a very pro chiropractic work, and healing the world because. Just as the body realigns through chiropractic work, and it's not just about moving bones, it's about strengthening your immune system. It's about realigning and centering yourself, grounding yourself, giving yourself that backbone, of support. There's just so much. But just like the body realigns itself through, chiropractic care, the world realigns itself through daily giving. So I want to ask you, how do you see a connection between your work as a chiropractor and your passion for tzedakah? Is there a connection? Like, is there something that sort of like meshes the two worlds?
So I might have had it, like I said, I alluded to it earlier, but it's not just a play on words. Like when you ask chiropractors, what do we do? A lot of what we do, we get people out of pain. How do we do that? By aligning the spine so that the body can do what it's supposed to do, which is heal itself. And when we sometimes we're just removing blockages, right? Whether or they're actually physical blockages or energy blockages,
Right.
it helps people get better. And like I really feel like I just really again as I thought about how giving when we give it puts us in our highest possible essence of alignment, of true alignment.
Mm,
Um,
I
and
love it.
so we just literally we're talking or Esther like less than a week ago. I was like, wow, that's got fun play on the words that like chiropractor aligning people, and now we're aligning themselves to their highest essence. And that's
Wow.
what I
Love
believe.
it.
I really truly believe that when we give, we are aligned. We're now aligning our what's deep inside, even whether we know it or not.
Sure.
Because I think that, back to even what Rabbi Wallerstein said, like how there's such a Yetzer Hara when it comes to giving. We work so hard for our money. Like you said, it's like blood. It's like giving blood. It's so hard. If Hashem made it easy to give, it's like it has to be hard because the benefits that
Right.
we reap when we give are so good for ourselves, so good for our body, for our soul. It's so good that he couldn't have made it easy. He had to make it one of the hardest things in the world. And that's why, even though it's such a no-brainer, to get people just we made it so easy to get stuck every single day and to feel that
Right.
extra because that email every day, you're like reminded, you could be having a bad day, you're like, oh, I did something good today. I gave today. You're like, oh, you get that little
Right.
shot of like, energy, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I am a good person, right? We work so hard. You work with so many people, right? I'll tell you that what I've learned in 19 years as a chiropractor, but in general, I've learned this more in the last year than my whole life, and that is that
Mm.
one of the most important things we could possibly do is have more self-love for ourselves, more self-compassion and more self-love. I'm on a self-compassion, self-love kick of getting people to have find self-love, right? And there's nothing better if you can, again, the when we're so hard on ourselves, we're as humans, it's like we are always there's so much negative self-talk there, whatever it is, the reasons childhood triggers trauma, but we're so hard on ourselves. And if we're able to, even at that email, that thing, you look and you go, oh, I gave, oh, I'm a giver, right? It actually really helps that like that moment, that clarity, that giving, that energy, that feeling like I'm a giver it kind of softens that. We all need self-compassion. We all need self-love. And when you're a giver,
Totally.
it's like you feel that. You like, oh yeah, that's right, I am good. That's right, I am
Totally.
good. Yeah.
Totally. And I remembered, I don't know if it was the Lubavitcher Rebbe, I remembered hearing this insight where a Jew is supposed to say, please Hashem, may it be your will, that I should have the zchut every single day to do tova echad leyehudi, that every day I should have the zchut to be able to do a favor, an act of kindness for a Jew every single day. Like you have to ask for it. You have to literally include it in your kavanas and in your intention. So every single day I say, Ana Hashem tezakeh oti kol yom shani eזכה לעשות מצווה אחת טובה ליהודי. And it don't even
Wow.
have to be, it doesn't have to be just a
Wow.
Yehudi. It
I
could be
love that.
to anybody in the world, because the Gentiles, by the way, hello, we also have to chovah, and we have an obligation to bring about a
100%.
Kiddush Hashem and be nice to them. They're creatures of Hashem. But you have to daven for it. And also, number two, you always have to daven to zakeoti, give me the zchut, please, Hashem. I ask you that the tzedakah that I give should go to the right causes and not go l'shem l'shav. It shouldn't go like to some, I don't know, whatever, right? That you have to ask for the zchut, that your tzedakah should be given to the right place. And it's you got it down pat. Like, thank you, Hashem, for that zchut. So at least you know that every day you have the zchut to do a mitzvah. And not only that, but that it's going to a place that's ra'ui, that it's noteworthy in Shemayim. So thank you for giving us the zchut to be able to do that. One last point. One last point. I feel like this is so important because we know that everyone feels to a certain degree that, and they're asking, like, I know I would ask myself this, what is a small contribution? What does it matter? What is a dollar going to give? Right? So what are you going to say to somebody who feels like giving, like me, $3 a day? Like, how is that going to help do something? Can you answer to that?
Sure, sure. It reminds me, Mishpacha magazine, Jonathan Rosenblum wrote an article in Mishpacha magazine about daily giving, maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I'm not sure exactly when it was. And hundreds of people signed up for daily giving for the article. But to me, someone had written, the most important thing was that someone wrote a letter to the editor 2 weeks later and it was published. And the letter said this, it said, I've always struggled with tzedakah because I've always felt I can only afford an $18 check here or a $36 check here. And like, I feel like I don't feel like I'm having any impact with my tzedakah. For the
Mm,
first time in my life with daily giving, I'm giving over $14,000 a day. I feel like I'm a big veer. I'm a big
wow.
philanthropist. For the first time, I feel like I'm actually having impact with my tzedakah. So that's part one of my answer to that question is that with daily giving, if you don't feel like you're having tzedakah, which a lot of us don't, maybe can't give enough that we feel that we're having impact, daily giving is a wonderful place for you to sign up. By the way, I forgot, it's dailygiving.org. If you do want to join, we'd love to have you part of our giving family.
Thank you. Thank you for
Um,
saying that.
but that's part of it is that you can have now we're giving out over $22,000 a day. Like and we send it in the email every day. We tell you what it's going to. We give to we've saved 14 lives through Ezer Mitzvah. We swab the cheek of every IDF soldier through Ezer Mitzvah. Well, the Ezer Mitzvah does this. We have over 7,000 IDF soldiers in our daily giving pool of donors that we've swabbed. And that pool is going to grow. So far, we've saved 14 lives of matches from our own pool of, but that's going to be soon hundreds and hundreds of lives we've saved from our daily giving pool of soldiers that we swapped. That's just one organization. Um, there's over 75, and actually soon there'll be over 100. So,
Wow.
so that's that. And the second thing is really, if you're questioning the impact that you're having with the dollar, what's so great, again, what we've talked about this whole time is really, it's not even about the dollar. It's really not about the person you're helping. It's about what giving does to you.
I
And
love it.
when, and I love it. And thank you for improving my Shemona Esrei for the rest of my life because I'm going to copy you what you just said for that opportunity. I remember once I heard on a podcast with Shalom Arush, and he said that when it comes to Ahavas Yisrael, loving your other Jews, it's something you have to work on. And so ever since then, that's one of the things I've added to my Shemona Esrei. I say, Hashem, please give me the strength to strengthen my Ahavas Yisrael every single day because these are some things that
Wow.
we actually have to work on. So thank you
Totally.
for improving my Shemona Esrei for now going forward.
Mm. Hey, this is a conversation where we're all feeding off of the rays of light that Hashem is putting into this world. And thank you for emphasizing that every drop fills the ocean, right? Hashem treasures the intention of every single gift, and that small, steady, initiatives create a cosmic change. I mean, you are cosmically changing the onset, the process of geula, without a doubt, without a doubt. And thank you for reminding us that again, giving doesn't need to be grand. It just needs to be steady. That every single day, one small act of tzedakah is drawing down so much geula light into this world. And thank you for running with it and really taking the initiative. I have to compliment another thing. I could feel, I deal with energy work. I feel the humility running through your veins. Like I feel the inspiration and the admiration that you don't let it get to your head. I see the
You know,
purity.
it's really, I take that as a very big compliment because I know I was literally about to say something. Feel so uncomfortable sometimes when people like the quarterback gets too much
Yeah.
credit and then also too much blame. Like I get too much credit. Like I have a team of people. I have 4 full-time staff and 5 part-time staff that do this. Like it's not just me. Like I did not do this by myself, right? There's a lot of people, and like you said, Hashem really gave us the privilege to do this, and it's a whole lot of people that are doing it. But yes, I do agree with you that it does. It's like just the gift that keeps on giving for everyone, and
That's gorgeous. Why,
yeah.
why, why? What a beautiful conversation, Jonathan. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your vision, bringing your vision, inspiring, opening up our hearts, and your dedication to the space, to doing this. It's just beyond. So please, to all the listeners, please consider joining this unbelievable, powerful initiative, Daily Giving Initiative. Remind us again of the
Yeah,
website,
yeah,
please.
yeah. It's dailygiving.org. Very
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you, thank you. And please, everyone, I want you to remember Hashem treasures even the small acts when they're done with a place of love and dedication. And I'm so inspired. I really am. Thank you for joining us. And thank you all to all of our listeners. And once again, this has been an amazing Or Talk. And I'm your host, Orit Esther Ryder. And I want to bench everyone that their year should be filled with health and happiness and daily giving to themselves, daily giving to others, and filled with dedication and light and kindness and hope. And of course, Geula Shlema. Until the next time, looking forward. Thank you so much, Jonathan, once again.
Thank you so much.